let's conjure up a couple emails then. I got one from Niv who says, "Hey guys, Nivius here from the Nazgrel server. I recently started tanking Prot Warrior level 18th-ish, and I've noticed a very disturbing thing happening. Maybe it's just my bad luck, but in almost all of the groups I've pugged in, everyone seems to be impatient, rushing ahead of the tank, not bothering to watch threat levels, etc. When I politely ask them to slow down or let me do my job, they say, oh, this is just level 17 instance, let's just get through it already. I can understand wanting to finish, but that's no reason to put the entire group at risk. I tend to cover the basic range of pugs as well as the all three roles, 55 Resto Shami, 18 level tank, 85 hunter, 50 rogue, and this tends to happen at higher levels as well. The thing is, I've only noticed this behavior when with people decked out in heirloom gear. So my question is this. Do you guys think being fully decked out in every heirloom is a bad thing for people? I know it's a sign that they've gotten enough justice points for everything, but it's a bad influence on people who don't have level 85s yet. At least I think so. Would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Niv. Also, P.S. Shout out to the Snuggle Bunnies of Doom.
Shout out.
Shout out. I'm not sure really, Scott, in that I feel they're quite justified. They're like, it's a level 17 instance. You know, don't worry. We're wearing heirlooms. This is like best in slot. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I can tank this, and I'm the healer. You know, don't worry. You know, we're just going to run through it. Let's get it done. Let's get through this. And, you know, we've all done it a million times before. Now, I get if he's saying, like, if it's your first go, do you want to be rushing through it? But, you know, I don't know how often that really comes to be. Yeah. Most people just want to get through and get it done, and that's the same with pugs.
Yeah, they're just trying to level. Yeah. We talked about this actually a little while ago. It was like, do you think the game is kind of ruined for new players? And this kind of speaks to that. If you're going through, one of these low level instances for the first time ever, and you're whaling caverns or whatever, and you're going through, and everybody just wants to rush through it, and it's your first time in there, you want to see it. The game isn't going to be, it doesn't have that magic that it had for us maybe when we did that our first time.
Right.
Because you remember what it was like. I mean, you actually had to think about these bosses in these instances the first time you went through.
And you really wanted to hear that story thing and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you had quests that you had picked up at various places around the zone. And then you had to find the entrance to the thing. And then you had to stand out there and try to find people to do it with you. And, that game is gone, and that was the game that kind of made us fall in love with the end game. Yeah. So when you're a new player, like, you just rush to the end game, and now it's like, well, why do I care about killing this guy?
It is a distinct downside to MMOs generally, and that's why I really enjoy a cultivated experience like Diablo 3, like the Elder Scrolls games, like I'm expecting with Skyrim, like a lot of single-player RPGs where the wonderment and the excitement and the newness is always present, because unless you're a freak that plays these games 6 times through for no reason, you everything's new as you consume it. Whereas in World of Warcraft and other MMOs like it, as much as Blizzard tries, and they do the best out there to make things seem as fresh as possible, after a while, like that Blood Beast fight, I always come back to that one because that story was so long. They made you wait so long for that thing, for the dad
the time
to talk
it would
to the
come
kid.
Up, it was a minute and a half or whatever.
And it was just so you'd always have to remember, well, start it while we're still explaining the fight, to people who were new or whatever. And it saddens me a little bit that that's what that boils down to. But again, I'm kind of with him. This is why I don't pug much, because I find that so grindy and so not fun. What I want, if I'm going to do that stuff, I'll do it with my friends, because then that's the newness of the experience, because we're laughing, Manny said something funny, Putinki made a fart noise, whatever. We're having a ball in there. So that's fun for me. The actual pugging of the thing the 5,000th time is not fun for me at all in the least. It's just earning money to, currency to go get something. And that's fine, and it's working as a system. But I'm kind of with him that you lose that cultivated experience. You lose that wonderment of walking into a room for the first time, like walking into Ulduar and going, holy crap, look at where we have to go and how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you're like, oh my gosh, Ulduar can just suck it. I hate this fight.
Like something like Black Fathom Deeps or whatever, like the first time you went in there and you're like going down this long, tunnel, and there's forks in the road, and then there's like, invisible mobs popping up on you, and you just started playing this game. And that was just really awesome. Then you got to swim underwater and kill like an underwater boss. It's just, there's all this like stuff that when you first start playing this game, you're like, this is fantastic. But and now everyone's just like, let's just kill it, get out of here. And then as soon as they're done, like the one guy just queues for the new one, and some people drop and some people don't. You know, it's like the whole thing is so different now, and you've lost that experience completely. I feel like I'm like the old man talking about how we used to buy records, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and you read the inside of it, and, you know, but it is true. I mean, you've lost a lot of that magic that was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember running my first Stratholme, and that was a 10-man raid. And, like, going in there, and it was like, you know, we all got together, we were all planning, we had potions. We spent about kind of 10 minutes at the beginning just getting ready. And then we went in and it was like, oh my God, look at the size of this pack. Oh, and we're all there like hitting it. And it was insane. And it was a case of it was harder content back then. And we were more innocent. We didn't know about, you know, I didn't know what the stamina on my gear actually did. You know, I was just hitting stuff and pressing buttons and hoping, you know, but I was having fun. Now I think we're in a slightly more kind of, you know, we kind of evolved a bit past a lot of those kind of early concepts. And now it is a case of efficiency and everything's driven towards an end goal. And so for so many people out there, their motivating factor is I need to get from A to B as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
That tends to be what you find in randoms. And I think, you know, Scott, you hit it on the head. If you don't like that experience, then unfortunately the random dungeon finder isn't for you. You've got to try and socialize on your realm, try and find other like-minded people. There will be other like-minded people. That's the great thing about World of Warcraft. There's 11 million people playing it. You know, you are going to find someone else, even on your own realm, you will find someone else, and even another 4 people who feel the same way you do.
Right.
And you will cultivate great friendships. I mean, I had, you know, I get people on Skype even now, like my very first guildies from my first guild, Dead Legs Resurrection, you know, like some weird sort of Nordic English guild that we had going on an old server. And, you know, we still talk to each other now. We're on different servers, but they're guys that, you know, I became good friends with. And I think that, you know, the Dungeon Finder isn't for that. It's for the other lot of people who I kind of feel like I'm almost in that group now, where when I run a dungeon, I just want to get it done. I just want to get my points. I want to get my points enough so I can get my gear so that then I can go raiding with my real friends and we can go and do the big content and have that experience on a different part of the game.
Yeah.
I like to do that at the beginning of every random. I just like to go, just so everybody knows, you're not my real friends. And then, now let's go. Just right at the beginning.
Yeah. You're not my real friends.
I'm the healer. Yeah. I don't care about you guys. You can all die.
You're the worst people ever. I just need these